So, and Gamila Unbridled, like, and a lot of you know us, you know where we've come from, but it started in 2021 for our trip across the country. So, yeah, for those who know, we rode Gammy and Hal from California to Kentucky completely bridleless. And we stopped at 19 different nonprofits along the way, trying to raise awareness. We trying to raise money for nonprofits throughout the country that are doing amazing things for horses and people along the way. And we wanted to share how liberty can help transform the lives of not only people, specifically youth, and horses. And we really want to focus on the rescue horses because a lot of the community in the horse world, when you think about rescue horses, there's a negative light. But liberty can shine so much brightness to these amazing creatures and really make an impact on people's lives when shown the ability to think and to feel for themselves. And when we got home, we thought that probably the number one thing that was lacking for a lot of the nonprofits and the organizations that are doing amazing things in this horse community in the rescue world in which we love, the biggest issue that we found was the lack of education and the lack of money that they could use to support that education for the horses. So we decided to take on the task of taking on the seven most initially it was the five most difficult, but it's hard for me to say no, as you know. And we ended up taking on the seven most difficult horses that we could find that came from nonprofits, that came to rescues, and we wanted to transform them through liberty. So we did that within 4 months, but we just knew that some of these horses weren't ready for adoption. So we took on the next step of our journey, and that was the extra mile. And that is where the story began, and we met these two beautiful women here. And the cool, interesting story about this is we aren't really big into limelight. We don't really like attention. So I got this random email from this random person. I don't even remember when exactly it was, and just saying that they were starting a documentary and they heard good things about us and they didn't wanted to know if they could meet us and see how we could get involved together. And I just saw it and I was like, well, I don't know why they would want to film us. It's not like we're doing anything that cool, but we're just trying to do our best and help out. And we sent him an email back and we said, hey, thank you for reaching out. I'm not really sure how we can help, but if there's any way that we can in the future, let us know. And I think we kind of left it at that. And then I was out teaching in Arizona and doing a clinic out there for a youth program. And one morning I agreed to do a lesson with this Arabian horse. And out came these amazing women, and they were like, "Hey, is it okay if I film you? We've actually been in touch once." And I said, "Yeah, sure, whatever you like. We're just gonna get out here and have some fun with this horse." And it just turned out beautifully. This horse connected so quickly. We were dancing, and it just felt the energy of it just felt so amazing. And we answered a couple questions, and after I called Avery, and I was like, "Hey, honey." I know you don't like when I do this, but I just agreed for these two strangers to come into your house and to your beings. And she loves her private space and her personal space. But I just offered these two strangers to come to fly to Texas from Arizona and film what we're doing next. And she was like, "You crazy? Why are you doing that?" And but I just had a great feeling because again, you're going to hear them speak here in just in a couple minutes. But just their energy and their spirit is second to none, whether it's talking about our childhood or where we're at today or where we're going. It's just pretty a special connection. So again, we're really big believers in energy, whether it's connecting with our horses through liberty or connecting through people. If it feels right, it usually is. And again, these two amazing women feel right every day because of just who they are and how special they are. So with anything else we want to mention before we?
Yeah, a couple of things. Luckily, this was one of the situations where Patrick was right. Having them come was great. And we absolutely loved our time with them. And so that's kind of the clips that you're going to see here come from that time period. So a lot of you, I'm sure, are familiar with when we did the extra mile and we had the two teams of four, and we were kind of the girls and the boys team. That's the point that they came in and the horses that they were learning about and following it on this. So it's really cool to look back because now it's what, like 2 years ago that it happened, which is crazy. Time flies like that. But that's kind of where this comes from. And then just to talk a little bit about what's happened since then, for any of you that maybe haven't, seen as much of that. So after we finished that project, we still really felt like the missing piece was education. And we found that even when we worked with these horses, yes, we could get them educated, but then we hit this other problem of, well, we have to have people that are educated too. Because if people don't understand how to communicate with the horses and work with them, then, we can only help so many of the horses. We need more people to be able to do this with us. And that's what really speared us to focus on Yellow, the Youth Equine Liberty Organization, that we then kind of launched for the first time that next year. And the entire purpose of that originally was to be a youth program that focused on education. And then I ended up convincing Patrick a little bit grudgingly that it can't be just youth, because everyone who gets in there with these horses and experiences liberty, it just makes you feel like you are a kid again. And it doesn't matter how old you are or what your experiences are with horses. I don't think I've seen a single person that goes in with a horse and does liberty and doesn't have that same look on their face, and it never gets old. And so we wanted to make it so that it was a way to, build the community and spread education for both youth, but also youth at heart. And so that's why we have our youth program that's not so youth. But the one rule is you have to have fun like a kid if you're going to be a part of it. And the horses do make us do that. So that's kind of what we've been focusing on the last couple of years. And really through that, we've wanted to find more ways to, provide education to people, to horses that maybe couldn't otherwise afford it or have access to it. And so some of the ways that we've tried to do that is go to different nonprofits and do clinics at those nonprofits, demos, or work with, the volunteers, staff, or kids, depending on what kind of program it is. So I'll let Patrick in a minute talk about a couple of those that he's gone to just this last year that have really stuck with him. But that's been a really cool thing that we've been able to do. We've been able to either, extremely discount or get some of the events to no cost for these places, for these people, so that we could provide that education. And as Patrick will tell you, if he could do it, that's all he would do. He would just travel around to these places and just spread this knowledge for free, because it just fills your cup definitely in a different way than a lot of things that we do on a day to day. And then the other ways that we've kind of tried to incorporate that is providing no cost memberships for some of the kids that are in the youth programs that are, needing a little more assistance to be able to participate in Yellow. And so we have several nonprofits that we've partnered with, even just in, we're only on year 2, that we've partnered with and been able to get kids being a part of it that wouldn't otherwise be able to. And that's spread onto some of our in-person shows where we have kind of been able to provide some of our horses for people that don't have horses or don't have the access to bring a horse to a live event. So those have been really rewarding and really fun. And then we've also tried to, for a while, do scholarship spots in clinics, but that's something that we've been able to increase a little bit more this past year and want to ideally do more and more of as we continue on, as well as, providing different virtual lessons and stuff like that to different nonprofits or people that work with nonprofits or people that want to kind of spread this knowledge and try and make the horse world a better place. So I just wanted to share a little bit of the kind of detailed side of what we're doing, trying to do, and why this is called a fundraiser, because we would love to do more and more of that if we can. And we do, I will share this one piece before I go to you, back to you, but we do have a very generous anonymous donor who will actually match up to $10,000 of funds that we can raise for the next week. So we have this event that we're doing now, and then we're going to have our Yellow show on Saturday, where we'll also have a little live demo, and we will try to live stream it if the internet and cell service cooperates with us and the weather. So hopefully we'll be able to do that. But throughout this entire week, we're able to raise funds to go towards that match, and they can be really in any donation form. So there's not a specific way. So we'll share that in the kind of chat below as well.
Yeah, so I just have 2 quick stories that I think that have really hit home for me. recently. And again, we truly believe that it's very important that not only do you help heal horses, but you help heal people as well. Because a lot of times we only focus on the horse, but we forget about the person. And a lot of times, in order to heal the horse, the person has to heal as well. So it's kind of a two-way street. And I have two stories, one for on the horse's perspective and one for the kids and the youth perspective. So we had an organization out last summer, and they were an organization that dealt with a lot of homeless children and children that dealt with a lot of adversity in their lives, whether or not they're not having a permanent home or their parents went to jail or there's some kind of circumstance where they don't have family to live with, so they go to this organization. So they came out to our farm for about 4 hours one day, and we always like to have organizations like this, and we don't really ever say much. We just kind of let the horses share with the kids on an individual basis whatever it is that they need. And there was probably about 10 of these young boys and girls, and they came out from all ages, from like I think 10 to 17. And you could tell as soon as they got off the bus that there was trauma. But again, we're not here to help them and give them therapy. We're here to show them how horses are fun, how the liberty can help heal. And so we went out throughout the day and we showed them how to groom the horses. We gave them a little demo with some of our rescue horses. And then we shared stories. We had lunch and we talked about their lives and about ours. And for the last hour, we got out the horses and said, hey, if you want to play Liberty with the horses, you can. And all of the kids came up and they're like, I want to play, I want to play. And one young man said he didn't want to play with the horses. And we said, okay, no problem. So we get through all of them. And then I was like, okay, is there anybody else that wants to do, anything with these horses? Any horse you pick. And the young man that told me that he didn't want to play with the horses, he was in flip-flops and he was in shorts, basketball shorts. And he was like, I think I want to try. I said, okay. And we handed him one of our horses. And he said, just go and have fun. And our horse will do whatever you ask, really. And so before you knew it, right, he was just out there walking with his head down. I didn't give him really any instruction. And he started just slowly but surely making his way around the arena, one step at a time. And every minute you could see his confidence grow. And again, very limited instruction, knows very little about liberty, knows nothing about horses. And within 5 minutes, he was running around, smiling, playing with the horse that he was given. And by the end, he was galloping around, sprinting around the arena. This horse was chasing him around, and it was almost like two kids at recess playing tag. And I really didn't think of anything of it other than the fact that I had a big smile on my face. It looked like he and the horse were having fun. And we put the horse up and the kids get back on the bus. And the director of the organization came up to me and she was like, hey, I just wanted to thank you very much for this special day. And I just wanted to share something with you that I felt like you needed to know. She says, that young man that played with your horses at the end of the day? And I said, yes, I do. And she was like, well, that young man just came to us a couple weeks ago and I haven't seen him smile because he had been locked in a cage for months before he came. And this is in the middle of Dallas where he came from. And he wasn't speaking to people, but he let his guard down around a horse that he didn't know because the horse had the education of liberty that could help him more than us people could. Because he didn't need someone telling him what he could and couldn't do. He needed a soul and an energy showing him that it's okay to let go and that it's okay to be himself and that this animal, this horse, this being has his back and he can be free with him because the horse already knows how to be free. And it was just such a touching, very emotional story that was shared with me because I was like, people, is that real stuff? It's stuff you see in movies or hear in movies, but you don't think it's real. And it's moments like these that I feel and I see every single day that I go somewhere new and how a horse can help heal a person when they are educated. And then the second story that I want to share with you is you're going to meet Armani, okay, here in this short little video coming up pretty quick. But Armani came to us from West Virginia, from the heart of Phoenix, rescue out in West Virginia. And he was an Appalachian Brumby, which is a wild horse found in the Appalachian Mountains in West Virginia. And he came to us when we started our program because he was the most feral horse that they had ever seen. And this organization adopts out the most horses out of anywhere else in the country every year. And they said, Patrick, I don't really know what to do. You sound like it's pretty crazy what you're trying to do, but you're our last hope because he's been to different trainers. He's been here and there. No one can get with 10 feet within him. When someone gets too close with him, trying to rope him, he tries to run through the fence and kill himself. And I was like, well, how bad could it really be? It's just a feral horse. But she was like, I'm going to trust you. I don't really know you, but here you go. So on comes Armani. And everything that we were doing was through liberty, meaning we weren't going to rope these horses to catch them. We weren't going to rope these horses to put saddles on. We were just going to see what we could accomplish using the horse's language. All the other horses we were able to halter within a week or two. Armani took 2 months just to be able to put a halter on him. And I was like, oh my goodness. Because when he first got here, literally I'd walk in to feed him and he'd want to run through the fence and try to kill himself. But little by little by little, we started to make change. And he was the horse that ended up being with us for 2 years. And even at the end, I was like, honey, I don't know how we're going to find this horse a home because he's great around me and he's great around certain people, but he's still kind of feral at times. And she's like, honey, don't we're gonna find someone for him. And I don't know whose idea it was, but I was like, hey, how about our friend Sarah, who teaches liberty lessons for kids? And most people would think feral, scary horse around kids. I don't know so much. But there was just something about the connection. And I said, hey, Sarah, I want you to come look at Armani. And I think he would be a really great fit for you. And I think eventually he'd be a great fit for your youth program. And she said, oh, great, great. I'm looking for another horse. And she came out, she rode them, she fell in love. They were phenomenal. And little by little, she started trusting him with their kids, riding bridleless, kids learning to ride. And so I go out there about once a month now, and Armani is trotting, cantering, teaching horses, whether at liberty or riding bridleless, kids how to ride and to connect with horses. And here's this horse that people said you couldn't be touched. That was so feral that it took 2 months in a small little 20 by 20 pen to even get a halter on. And now he's being dressed up like a butterfly, teaching and having fun with young girls and young boys. So you're taking this horse that had the most fear out of any soul I've ever seen, and now he's taking that fear that he once had and taking it away from these youth that are maybe afraid of horses or a little intimidated. And he's saying, don't worry, I've been there. I got your back. And I think that's kind of what this documentary is about. And I think that's what this story is about because it's not our story. It's these horses' stories. So I think we're going to go ahead and we've talked enough. We wanted to kind of share a little bit more, but I think we're going to pass it on over, I think, to Dana. Dana wants to start, and we'll give them a chance to share their side of the story.
Thank you so much, Patrick and Avery, for having us. It is such an honor to be here with you guys and your community. I have to say, just hearing the story about when we first connected, it warms my heart because our friendship is so beautiful now. But like that first outreach, I got your name from somebody in the Arabian horse world through a place that I used to volunteer. And my whole life changed just being in the presence of horses. I had no idea why I was so drawn to them. And then I had this opportunity to volunteer at a therapeutic riding center. And so fast forward 15 years, we're creating this film. And that guy is the one who connected me to the person through the Arabian horse world who said, have you ever heard of Patrick? I was like, no. And so hearing that story and the journey that you took with your Arabian horse bridleless and stopping at all of these places and creating all this awareness and education and fundraising for the rescues. Like I remember telling Krisanna, I don't know who these human beings are behind this Gamila Unbridled. And at the time I couldn't even say the word Gamila. But I really want to know them. And so for us to be where we're at now after all of that is just so heartwarming to me. Because truthfully, when we met and then eventually immersed with you in Texas, when you were going to do this display of what happens after you work with the toughest horses at Liberty, I mean, it just rocked our world. And the fact that we got to come there and film, and have this as part of our mission with Rescued Hearts to create a lot of awareness about the healing power of the horse human connection and how reciprocal that healing can be. And especially when horses are given a choice and they're worked with at liberty. And we're not here to preach one way or the other of working with horses, but watching what you guys did was really the first time we saw anything like that. And it just resonated so much. And so I can't thank you enough for going on the journey with us and inviting us here. We had the opportunity to be at your gala event 2 years ago. It was phenomenal watching the display of what unfolded, and I can't wait to share the scene. So thank you for all of the kind words that you said about us. All of those feelings, we have the exact same about you. And we're just so grateful to have you in our lives, to have you in our film, and for the work that you're doing in the world to raise awareness about this connection at Liberty in a way that, in the way that you two do it. It's so special. So I could not be happier to support what you're doing today. And I hope that your community can come together and help you maximize that dollar for dollar match up to $10,000. I know personally how hard it is to fundraise because we've had to do it this whole time for the film. And when somebody offered us a match, I was like, oh my gosh, that is like the biggest blessing. So thank you too for what you're doing in this world. Thank you for what you've brought into the lives of so many horses and so many humans, and especially into our lives. I could not be more grateful.
Oh, I feel that deeply. And I assume you were done, my love. Yeah. And thanks, Avery, for getting us in the chat. I was like, uh-oh, we're not seeing anything. It's all good. But I just want to echo what Dana shared. And even Patrick, that story of that young man that you just shared, I felt my whole heart just moved deeply. And I think I love that story because it's a picture to me of this space. It's like you guys operate as I observe it. And I'm not a horse expert, obviously. I've not been in the horse world a long time. So we came in, I came in very new, and we filmed with you guys pretty early into our journey. And it was so powerful because it really anchored us into kind of like the energy of what we wanted to be about. But what I love about you both is how you sit in the in between. Like you're not telling people that it's this way or no way. And you really allow space for people to go inside their heart and develop their own magic and their own inspiration around how they want to connect with these sacred beings. And also like the grace of being able to say, like you even told us, well, the way we did things previously, we probably wouldn't do today. And that's growth. That's just this journey of like this beautiful unfolding. And so I think for us, that was really profound because I do think the horse world to me is similar to what we see at large in the world in these systems. And we put people in boxes and we put ways of being in boxes. And I just feel the love in what you both are doing. And I also feel the deep, profound mission of what you all are doing. And that's why we're doing this today. Like we are not sharing scenes from our film loosely. Let's put it that way. This film is on lockdown and it's good reason. It's not just because of our egos. Like the film we believe is going to have an amazing impact. And so we have to be very careful, and we're having consultants work with us, and we're also trusting our heart and how we release it in a way that it can have the most impact, that places can use the film to raise funds, all this. But the reason we're here is because we really align with the mission of what you're doing. And that mission is so powerful because when I saw this world of horses, I thought, what about those who don't have access? What about those who don't have who don't come from affluent families? How do they experience this? And so to see you all embody that, and to see like the real world impact of people learning from you, people leaving your place forever changed. I believe this scene will be a powerful source of inspiration, of like possibility. Wait a minute, that's possible with love and connection. And yet you do it with so much grace and so much love. And it's really, really profound. And we just consider you close friends, and like, what a gift. So I just wanted to reiterate that because this mission is really powerful, and it only happens, just like our film, it only happens when people say, that's something I want to be about. And so I do want to share a little bit about the scene you're about to see. And, as you see it, I guess I just encourage everyone watching, and my hope is you all share this on YouTube or whatever, not the scene, but you'll share this conversation. And so those watching later, just like feel in your heart, what is your mission? What do you want to be about? And if feels in alignment for you, funds or energy. And I can tell you, as we immersed with these two special, special souls who are now bringing two more special souls into this planet, they're just the real deal. They're just like pure hearts, pure intentions, and really interested in helping horses and helping people and helping all of us heal. And they're doing the work within themselves. Like we've had so many conversations about healing and connection. And that's been really profound for me too. It's like, it's not just a show. It's like you guys are doing this inner work to cultivate that within yourself, which I'm just so in awe of, truly. So quick share on the scene. I love what Dana shared as well. And sorry, I'm talking a little bit. I guess I had a lot to say. But what's really interesting, and this is something I've never shared publicly, and I've only shared this with Patrick and Avery, and obviously Dana knows. I went through over 200 hours of footage, and I had edited Patrick and Avery's scene, I don't know, maybe a few months into the editing process. And so, of course, as I was editing, I was evolving, I was learning, I was growing. And the scene was fine. I mean, I think a lot of people would have loved it. But I felt like, so what happened is I got close to the end. We were like, okay, the film is close to done. And I watched their scene again. And now that I had been on this journey of unpacking this kind of what our film is, how it's coming together, all of a sudden I knew this isn't it. This isn't it. And I went back through all their footage again. And I went into even like the in-between moments of talking with Avery and like, what else did she say? And anyway, and I felt like I had to find something truer here. And at that point, our film didn't necessarily have like specific horse stories because I'm very wary of like, how can we speak for horses, right? They have their own experience, but like we're the ones that create stories around that. And then as I went back through the footage, these two horses began to emerge as these stars, and I just couldn't unfeel it. It's like it was revealed to me, Nostalgia and Armani, which of course Patrick already spoke about. And that was so powerful and so hard because we were like in the final push, and I think it took a solid week to redo the scene. But it's maybe the scene it's one of the scenes I'm most proud of because of the intention of it, and it taught me to trust when my heart is saying there's something more here and there's something more to be learned in the transmission of what, we're condensing time. Patrick and Avery worked so long to get these horses to this place. And I feel a lot of sensitivity around that because I don't want it to look like, oh, you can just do this overnight. No big deal. Wait, if my horse doesn't do it overnight, we got to force him, whatever. I don't need to get into all that. But you know what I'm saying? Like I wanted it to be clear. This takes a lot of dedication, love, patience, allowing. And so all of that, I think my hope and prayer is as you experience this scene, you feel that. You feel the energy in 8 minutes. 8 minutes of the heart of their work. And the truth is, I hope we continue to explore together because what y'all are doing in this yellow stuff, I'm like, okay, we'll probably have to film some more in the future because that's really amazing. But for what this is, I think it was so profound to just see the magic. And then the last thing I'll share is we had some music in. Patrick watched this scene and we loved it. It was like, oh, this is amazing. Then our composer got her hands on our film and she's brilliant. And she watched this scene. And this is one of like 18 scenes. Like the film is, it's quite dense. And she was like, I want that. I have to do something as a part of this scene because it's so powerful and it moves me so deeply. So she switched out the ending track, which you'll see why it's so big. It's such a beautiful montage of what was possible at that event. But she switched it out with something that she wrote right from her heart. And the second we heard it, Dana and I were like moved to tears. We just knew, oh my God, this is it. So it was really amazing how not only did it move us, but it moved our composer. And she recently actually played this song on a radio interview that we did for the film. Like she's obsessed with this song. So I say that because she's just a brilliant genius of an artist anyway. Brianna Tam, just want to call out her name. But, it's so cool how she's not necessarily a horse person. And this footage like deeply moved her heart and really opened her up to possibility. So with that, unless anyone has anything else, Patrick, Avery, Dana, do you want to say anything else before I start the clip, or do you want me to just like roll? We're
No.
ready to roll? Okay,
Let's
cool.
roll. I think that was great backstory, and I'm really proud of you because you didn't settle for this scene to just be good enough. You went back in and put your heart and soul in for another week to create what everybody is about to see, and I'm just so proud of you for your integrity and making this the best version of what it could be. And Patrick and Avery deserve that, and these two incredible horses in addition to the others deserve that. And I think it's just was a beautiful collaboration. So let's let everybody see it.
There's something to seeing yourself in something like this, because I really don't view ourselves as any greater or worse than anyone else. We're just people. But when I see horses like Armani and Nostalgia, how you were both able to capture just who they were as horses, even though you just met them and don't really know them that well, just you're being able to showcase who they were through their smiles, through their energies, the music, and it all was just put together so incredibly. And it just goes to show it's like no person is greater than one another, and no horse is any greater or any less than each other, whether it's a horse that is thrown away or given away to a rescue, or it's a multi-million-dollar horse. They're all the same, and they all should be treated the same, and they all deserve to be treated the same, just like we all do. And um, that 8 minutes was something that was just so incredible and just so beautiful. And but I wouldn't expect anything less because of how beautiful you both are. And again, your spirit shows through that, and I just can't thank you enough.
Well, it was truly an honor to put that together. And, I was thinking, what you just shared, Patrick, how, like, even the footage at the end where y'all are connecting with Nostalgia, just so everyone knows, like, we were following all the horses' stories as we were together. We were like kind of drinking out of a fire hose, right? Like, wow, there's all these horses, and they're rescued, and what's their story? And when we filmed that morning, what was amazing when I was editing was to see, I just was going through that B-roll again as I kind of decided, oh, Nostalgia and Armani. And I'm like, wait a minute, is that Nostalgia? Like, it was so mind-blowing to me because that's the only horse during that whole morning filming that connected with you in that way. At the beginning with just you, Avery, and then at the end with both of you. And I'm like, it's like the horses knew. I don't know how these things unfold. The magic that happens behind the scenes that we can't predict. But the fact that like that footage was there and then these words came to me as I finished that scene, that nostalgia shows the power of love and connection. And I'm like, oh my God. And then the fact that you guys adopted her, it was just so profound. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm just feeling as people are sharing, thank you for your kind words. And the truth is, it was like an amazing honor and also a great burden to figure out, like, how do we do this justice, the work that you're doing in helping humans and helping horses, and like, how do we do this well where you'll feel proud of what's come together. And yeah, and what I love also about this scene that a lot of people won't know until they watch the full film much later this year is that this scene is a turning point of the film. It's at the halfway point, and it's right after a very emotional connection that Dana has with her dad. But what it does is it shifts us into this like part two of our film where we're really looking at what does it look like when the horses also need support, when they also need this space to heal. And is that space ever separate from us? Like, is healing ever actually separate? When one of us heals, maybe all of us heal. Not that we say that, but that's kind of the energy of what started to transpire. But just, we didn't want to have a film that was just focused on the healing connection of like how humans benefit from horses. We were very curious about, well, there's also horses who need support. And so the fact that you all are doing this and have been healed in that work, that was like the most powerful aha for us to have early on in the filming. Like, this is much bigger than just this linear, narrow perspective. And so anyway, thank you for that. And I so appreciate y'all's hearts. And, I hope that we're here on a mission. We're sharing this scene because we want you to feel it in your heart, and we want you to consider what would it look like to be part of this work. And Patrick and Avery, hopefully you'll put the links in the chat for how people can support you. But I'm really passionate about that because I want to see you guys do incredibly well as you continue this mission of, helping horses, helping humans, and creating more access. So Dana, I don't know if you had anything to share, but I just had to chime in about that.
Oh, thank you. That was a beautiful share. And it's driving me nuts that this version of Zoom does not let me heart everybody's beautiful comments. I am just so touched by, and I see some dear friends in the comments here, new friends and old friends and people that are just becoming part of our community, that are part of the Gamila Unbridled community and Yellow. And it just makes me so happy that our film can be a bridge for all of us to really just be on the same team and have similar missions. We all have our unique ways of displaying these things or working with horses, but I just love how our film is bringing people together. And I am honored to be here and to be able to share this scene. Krisanna's right. If anybody is curious about kind of our journey and how you can see the rest, if it's okay to share that. Perfect. So our journey right now is that we're going to be in film festivals. And so the very first time the full film is going to be shared is at our world premiere in Santa Barbara, California on May 2nd. We were lucky enough to get into a wonderful film festival that elevates the kind of films that I think we fit in perfectly with. Spreading a lot of love, hope, and healing, raising awareness and consciousness in this world is really important to us. So that will be our first time sharing the film, and we'll be in the film festival circuit until November. So we've applied to a bunch of different ones. We're trying to, make it possible for us to go to them to do live Q&As. And at the same time, we're going to be releasing the opportunity to actually have people host screenings of the first half of our film until we're able to release the full film in November with an online worldwide screening. And the reason is because once you share your full film, like too much or too many places, you take yourself out of eligibility for film festivals and potentially, down the road, after a really heartfelt grassroots effort of sharing our work, a distributor may knock on our door, and we have to be prepared for that. So that being said, this is going to be released in phases, and y'all are very lucky because Krisanna said it. This scene is in part 2. So nobody really is going to see this until either they're at an event, at a screening, or a film festival, or until November. So you guys can check out all the different places that we're going to be at in person on rescuedheartsfilm.com. So just know that is our intention here by sharing this scene today, is to really elevate and highlight the incredible work that they're doing and offer them some kind of support to keep going on their journey. So especially as they're bringing 2 little ones, twins, into the world.
I just wanted to make one other note after hearing Krisanna, you sharing a little bit about how it's the turning point in the film and how nostalgia was kind of spoke to you to be that ending. And it's ironic because I don't know how many of you guys know this, but we had no intention of adopting nostalgia. So that was something that really came about, I think, in a similar way to just the way that whole scene, you talking about how it came together, and that, we were trying really hard to find her a forever home and the right person. And it just wasn't really, we're very particular. We want it to be a good fit for both the person and the horse. And we weren't really finding that. And we found over and over again that, people just didn't view her the same way we viewed her, because we chose to not pursue trying to ride her. Patrick did ride her and she took great care of him, but we could tell that it wasn't what she wanted to be doing. She wasn't comfortable with it. And she was so phenomenal and amazing in liberty in all ways that, we were just so proud of her and all that she would do with that's all we really could see, right? So we always viewed nostalgia as like this amazing, talented horse that could go to rodeos and do halftime shows with these huge environments and stay with us and do liberty when she was so green, in the scheme of everything. And so it just kind of kept happening again and again where, we would have these signs, I think in hindsight, showing us that like her purpose is bigger than that. She's not meant to be ridden right now for a reason, but she's also trying to show us something else. And her kind of coming up and connecting there at the end that morning, she kind of did that over and over again with us. I remember there's this one morning where like Patrick was over the moon because he came over and he was like, Nostalgia just trotted to me in the pasture. And like, she had been totally feral, absolutely terrified. And she just saw him, coming out to work her one day and she was like, oh, I'd love to do that. And she trotted right up. And, you all know you have horses. That means a lot for them, not only to let you catch them in a pasture, but also to choose to see you and to choose, I want to come be a part of this. And she just continued to choose to connect and to show us how powerful just that connection is. And so I just loved hearing that, how that clip and that B-roll spoke to you as the way it needed to end. And it definitely speaks to me as well. And I think it was a perfect way to wrap it all up.
Well, so now I'm curious. I know, Patrick, you're going to share, but like, how long ago did you decide to adopt her officially, where you weren't seeking a home?
So we had officially decided, like literally, I don't know, 2 days before that event. I think
Oh,
was
right before the event. Oh,
right
okay.
before the event. So we had
Cool.
had her at that point for a year and a half. And so
Okay.
that entire year and a half, we were the plan was to adopt her and we were working on, promoting her and finding her a place. And I think we messaged her rescue like literally the morning of that event. That was when we were finally like, okay, this is this is what I think we need to do. And then then she was absolutely unbelievable that whole day. And there was no pressure on it because we had already decided like no matter what, we feel that she's meant to stay with us. And so yeah, I think it was right literally that day that you filmed was when we let her rescue know.
So I knew. So nostalgia was Avery and I both had horses that we dealt with. So I had Armani, Nostalgia, and this horse called Mojo. And the reason I had quote unquote the most difficult ones that we could find is because at the beginning Avery didn't really believe in this journey. She didn't think it was possible. She thought it was a silly idea, but she's a great wife, so she would support me anyway. But nostalgia was very, very difficult. And, but as we started moving on, nostalgia, Avery started to find out how special nostalgia was. And we took her to this Equifest in Canada, in Kansas, this huge horse expo. And the moment I knew that I wanted to adopt her was from this evening. So we were invited to do a night show. And I was like, I want Avery to be a big part of this night show. And so she took the girls team out. So Nostalgia, Indigo, who was part of the program, and then Tess, a Mustang. And at that time, Nostalgia was up for adoption. And we get done with the night show, and Nostalgia was fantastic. The girls were phenomenal. Avery was great, and I was just so proud of them. And at the after, fans got to come up to us on the side and start talking to us about the horses. And they're like, "Oh my God, I love that big sorrel horse of yours." He's like, "Well, what's her name? Tell me her story. Is she for adoption?" And we're like, "Yeah, she's for adoption." And then she's the lady, very innocent. Again, it wasn't any malicious intent in this, but I remember it like it was just now, like you guys speaking to me. I said, she's like, "Does she ride?" I said, "She rides, but we're not really going to adopt her out as a ridden horse. She was an ex-bucking stock horse, so she's just phenomenal at Liberty." And she's like, "Well, I guess she has no use then." And I was like, "What? Did you just see what happened? Like 99.999% of horses can't do that. And then you just said she has no use because she isn't being ridden." And that is the whole purpose of the journey that we're on. And from that day, I knew, I was like, we are going to keep nostalgia. And I just knew it from the bottom of my heart, because if that's what people in society think, and again, she wasn't trying to be mean or rude, it wasn't a personal attack, but to me it was, because it's like liberty is the root of who we are. And all horses aren't designed to do one thing or another, just like all people aren't. We're not cookie cutter. And nostalgia could be a great riding horse, but she was in the rodeos as a buck and stock horse. And it's not that I couldn't ride her, but it's the fact that if we ever allowed her to go somewhere else and she bucked one time, she could kill someone. So it's like, because she was bred to do that and she had been trained to do that. But Liberty is where she's capable of making so much happen. And we see it time and time and time again is there's a lot of horses. All horses can be ridden, but some horses and a lot of horses shouldn't be. And there has to be another reason, another purpose that they're here because riding an animal, riding a horse isn't the only reason that the horses are around. Horses are around for so many different reasons. And I feel like Liberty gives them the opportunity to show who they really are, and not just a horse that's a tool. And I say this time and time and time again, horses used to be tools for us. We used to travel with them. They used to carry things for them. They used to make sure that we could get to safety. We, went to war with them. But now they're not tools. Now they are members of your family. They are creatures that are way more than a tool. 99% of people don't use horses as tools unless your community has them as working animals. And that's what I want to promote is that they aren't tools anymore. They're family, they're souls, they have energy just like us and they have feelings just like us. And I think Liberty is a good way to show that. So it's a really special, I love all of these horses, but some of them have really special places in our hearts. And I've never really found a horse I don't like or love, but it's a lot of fun. So is there any questions from anybody out here? I want to make one more little promotion. If you want to watch a really special documentary, and I think it's what y'all made last. I don't know if it's your only documentary, but the one that I watched the first time is called Love Heals. And it's a lot about Dana's story, and it's beautiful. And it's incredible. And I watched it, I think, right after I met them. And again, to me, it goes along with Rescued Hearts because, again, love is a part of everything that we do. And if love can help heal our body and our mind, then it goes a long way. So I'm not going to share too much about it, but I'll let them share where you can find it. I think I watched it online or PBS. But it's called Love Heals. It's beautiful, and it's just an incredible story, and it shows and it captures who they are as people. And I highly recommend that you watch it because, again, it's just first class. So if there are any questions that we can help answer for you before we wrap up this call about our journey, about the horses, whether it's to us or whatever we can do to help you, that would be great.
We appreciate your support, and everybody, Krisanna just put links back in. So if you can support Patrick and Avery, Gamila Unbridled, and all of the different programs that they're offering the world, that would be amazing.
Well, and I would, as a storyteller, I didn't mean to cut you off, Dave. As a storyteller, Patrick and Avery, I'd love for you to share, like, obviously this is a fundraiser, but what are the other ways that people can connect with you? Don't you have like a membership, or would you like to share about that? Because I feel like we don't want to have the curse of knowledge. I'd love for people to understand all the different ways they can partner with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So through Yellow, we have some different membership options. And like we said, it's for both youth and youth at heart, which just means adults. And through that, we do virtual Liberty shows every month, but those shows are really designed as a way to kind of connect with people around the world that are doing Liberty and get feedback and get kind of support on how to improve, how to learn. So we do those. We do some in-person shows every year. We have 4 scheduled again for this year. So that's another way that you can come out and connect with us. We have one in Texas this Saturday, and then we are going to have one in Canada actually in July, which is really exciting. And then one in Kentucky in, I believe, September, and one in Maine in September. So those are our in-person events this year, other than some clinics. We're having to cut back a little bit on those due to the new arrivals coming right in the middle of summer. But we'll definitely have those Yellow events. And then through Yellow, we also have educational platforms as well. So we have a video kind of library that we add to right now. New videos released every week. And we also kind of take feedback and suggestions. And those are both videos of, us working with horses and other people working with their horses. So it's real life sessions. Some of them come from our clinics and lessons and things like that. So we really try and make it as authentic as possible to what really happens in life, because we know it is not always the beautiful final image that you usually see. So that's really, I think, some of the best ways to connect with us this year. And then, we're also on social media. We're very active on Gamila Unbridled. We did just recently start a YouTube page, which we're very excited about that, because we're hoping to be able to share more stories and more education through YouTube in another avenue that people can, get at least some different knowledge that there is no membership fee for. So we're also working on that, and so far releasing a video every week, and that is my goal through the year. So I think those are some of the kind of the best ways to follow and connect. And I will also include links to all of those. I know a lot of you probably already follow us on those if you're here, but we'll include those in the email I send out as well.
So really, unless there's anything else, I just have one story that I want to share to wrap it up. But I think I was sharing with Dana, if you remember the scene that um, I was with Gammy in the trees, and I was sharing a little bit about my childhood, and I haven't really opened up to many people, but you two just felt like, I don't know what it was, but it was just something that a safe place, yeah, that I could share. And I feel like Rescued Hearts is a perfect name for this documentary, because a lot of ways that horses rescued my heart. And, my first job was at a horse rescue. And for my whole life, I really hid the pain that I went through. And when I saw the rescue horses for the first time, I said, wow, there's something different about these horses that I had never seen. And this was like, I don't know, maybe a year or two into my journey. And I started to think about why. And I started talking to my sister a little bit more about why. And it's mostly because of the pain that I went through when I was a kid, that I knew as a kid, I had no escape. I, I felt like I was locked in um, I don't know, a prison of sense in the house where you couldn't escape and you couldn't leave, and you just had to live in your faith, and no matter how bad things got or afraid that you got, you just had to find a way to get through it. And as a kid, you don't really have a choice of the parents or where you're grown up or the siblings that you have or the upbringing that you go through. But I relate it so much because the horses are the same. The horses don't have a choice of who they live with or the parents they have or the siblings that they are or the environment in which they are in. So when I came across the rescue horses, I saw myself in them. And I saw myself saying, how can I help these horses through their fear? Because they had already been through a lot more than probably most. And I think that was the best way that I could relate with them, is I didn't really have the technique. I really didn't know how. I didn't really have really good timing or feel or an education really of how to help these horses. They were helping me more. I'm surprised they didn't kill me, but um, I just, from a foundational standpoint, I said, I can relate to you. There's nothing to fear here. We might have some tough days, but I'll help rescue your heart if you help rescue mine. And little by little, they helped educate me, and I helped educate them a little bit of how to live in the human world. So without my childhood and without my upbringing, I don't think that I would be where I am today. And it's a really powerful thing because it's a journey that you don't enjoy living at the moment, but afterwards you say, thank God that I went through that, because now I have the experience and the ability to help others that have been through similar things. And no two stories are alike, but to me, pain and negativity and any feeling that you have, good or bad, is relatable to each person and to each horse. And I try to share that each and every day, and I'm far from perfect. And I try to get better of how I portray that. And I can't sleep at night if I do something that I just don't feel right to a horse at night, and I can't wait to get back out and help him the next day. But through my childhood, I feel like I am where I am today, and in a way, it kind of rescued my heart. So I wouldn't be with where I am today without my experiences, but also through these horses. And I do my best every day, and I try to give the opportunity to educate these horses so that they can go and heal others. Because without an education, neither horses or people can heal one another with what they're trying to get. So that's the last little thing I wanted to share. And again, I'm so thankful for all of you that are in here tonight, and we consider you family and friends. And again, we're just all in this journey together. So we love you, and we'll talk to you next time. And again, thank you so much, the amazing, beautiful souls of Rescued Hearts, for allowing us to be part of your journey.